A.
Ooh.
Cantona.
And welcome to Fakt Vs Ficktion. With me, Tom. I'm also joined by Tom.
That is indeed moi. If you're happy and you know it, no you don't.
John.
John, the call has come from inside the house, Hellard. Yep.
And Matt.
My camera doesn't work.
Good.
Which is a problem that only... I'm going to say, which is a problem?
It's the solution.
I'm
It's
very
always a problem
vain.
for an audio media when your camera doesn't work.
They can't see my hand gestures. What are they going to do?
They couldn't see them in the first one.
I just shrugged for the benefit of people listening at home.
Shall we do like an audio description, like like they do on DVDs and stuff? Tom put hand to head, looking frustrated and perturbed by his left side.
They make it sound like he's confused by the left-hand side of him.
The left-hand side of myself is often confusing.
I do look at my left hand and think, what the fuck?
Is like one of those things Is it like one of those things they used to get on stage where like one half of you is like the proper 18th century man and the other one's just like a brothel whorehouse dancer?
That's weirdly specific.
I'm not sure what place you're going to, Matt, but...
I was going to say, I need to go to more theatre.
Hamilton's really changed.
They just don't teach it this way in schools.
They're not allowed.
You don't. Oh
God.
Maybe if you go to private school, they teach you that.
It's like, all right, Laura, you're going to play the courtesan with a dream. Like, no, you're not allowed to do that, are you?
It's just hazing for drama students.
I think a hazing for drama students is real life.
Yeah.
be honest,
Living in theatre and not having a job.
Not being on the stage.
I think there is
suffering constantly.
No, I do think there is a thing.
I gotta
with
be
it.
myself. Yuck.
I do think there is a thing with it where I think you can recognise drama students before you actually talk to them sometimes.
That is true.
You can tell by the way they walk their walk.
Well, it's because they constantly look to the left for a line. But yeah.
Hey, I do that, and I didn't study drama.
The moment I started singing that song, I realised I didn't know anything past the opening line.
I often do that with songs.
Yeah, but such confidence, though.
Indeed. Well, I'm bringing the question this week. It's not technically a hypothetical, but it was interesting. It got me thinking, because you remember that conversation we had about a week ago about mean, medium, and mode?
I was going to say, all I remember is Devil's Pizza.
Range! That was the one beginning with R, I forgot.
Oh, the lost brother of the averages.
It's like the Three Musketeers and that one.
He's the fourth one that no one...
Yeah, and that one.
Oh,
Mickey, Donald, Goofy, and the other one.
So, Matt, what is the question?
the question is, like, just when you, like, just in all media and just real life and whatnot, what do you think is the most common finger that people lose?
My brain went like, what, like in Trivia Murder Party where you cut one of them off?
I mean, kind of.
No sponsorship.
I'm going to guess the ruby
Other
finger.
party games are available. Is that because you lose it in marriage, Tom?
Yeah.
Because I think that's the one that Frodo loses in Return of the King. Based on memory alone.
Oh, that makes sense.
Tom's gone a bit there. I'm going to say the little finger, honestly.
Yes, people do lose him. He's hard to keep track of.
Well, which is the one... I was going to say, which is the one that the Black Sabbath guitarist lost in a offshore rig accident?
Ah, it's a good question.
That's how. That's honestly like how he.
I have no idea.
I think he lost like that. The pointer one. I think he like cut it off up to like
finger,
there.
Tom.
I don't fucking know. I'm pointing, but he like lost it up to like I want to say like up to like halfway between the end joint and the knuckle, not the knuckle. What are the two joints on your finger called?
Knuckles.
No,
are they all knuckles?
Yeah, they're all knuckles.
I thought the knuckles were the ones at the end of your hand and the beginning of your finger.
Maybe, but I always thought the knuckle was the bend in the
They're
thumb.
also
They have got specific names which I've temporarily forgotten.
Jimmy,
But yeah,
Johnson,
So
Maxwell.
to clarify, the Black Sabbath guitarist
George.
lost his middle and ring finger on his right hand.
Ah.
So he lost
That's weird. That's weird. Yeah.
those two.
which, as I said, didn't help him as a
Second and
guitarist because he was a lefty, I think. So,
didn't he
like,
get,
but I think that's the way he
protected
worked
from
out how to do like the harmonics because he couldn't press the strings properly.
Oh, nice. That's inadvertently made him an amazing guitarist.
Is it Tommy Iommi?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. I just looked at it. Yes.
I think so. Yes, I definitely don't have it open in front of
The only members of Black Sabbath I remember are Ozzy Osbourne and Geezer Butler because of his name.
I haven't heard Geezer Butler before, but that is a fantastic name.
That's pretty
It's
good.
not his actual name, but that's the nickname of him in the band, and it's like,
really good
yeah,
nickname.
Geezer Butler. Side tangent about Black Sabbath. One of the songs, The Wizard, might be about the drug dealer. As John falls over, John's camera falls.
It's fine.
Yeah, they have a song called The Wizard, and it's about one of two things. Either the drug dealer the band used to have, or it's about Gandalf.
Could be though.
Same person.
I really hope the
gonna
drug dealer looked like Gandalf. Just a pimpy Gandalf with his cane.
Anyway, this is not meant to be Fact Week about Black Sabbath.
We're taking control.
Yeah, look, let's face it.
Matt-
We're gonna win.
What was?
You
do have
probably
the,
are.
Answer about the finger question.
Oh no, this was
It's
just
a
me asking.
hypothetical. There isn't one.
There is. I have no idea. Do you want me to Google the stats right now?
Well,
Sure.
Because I
I
didn't.
want
know.
percent-
It was just like an idea. What is live?
I like how we did. Are we like not considering the thumb?
I mean, the thumb's a
No.
thumb.
Yeah,
I know,
that is
but
a
like
thing.
it does its own
But
thing.
not a finger is not a thumb.
He's
No.
one
I
of
was
those
gonna say-
finger thumb lovers, even.
I was gonna say, but considering it like does its own thing half the time, and we've got more control over it than the rest of them, I feel like it would cause more
What do you mean
issues.
half the time? Do you
What
have
do you
thumb
mean we've
spasms?
got more control over it than the others?
Wow.
Well, the thumb has to keep the others in line.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The thumb's in control.
These ruly rebels.
So the finger most likely to be injured was the index or middle finger, which were injured most often, which implies it's changed in recent times.
Yeah,
It's because like most people just
What the hell
injure
is-
it like swearing at
keeping
someone,
track?
and then it gets broken in the process.
Apparently, the pinky finger is the most useless finger, though. Which
I
I totally
believe it.
agree. The pinky does do nothing for me.
well,
Can't
it
get
helps
off
you
for a
hold a
pinky.
sword. You fool.
You can hold it without your. I don't know why I'm raising
Oh,
my pinky to
it
my
helps
nose.
you
get the water out of your ear when
It
you've been
is
in the
much
swimming
more
pool.
difficult. That's the reason the Yakuza take them.
Well, anyway. Away from
This is-
facts,
My links to
rabbit
organised
holes
crime.
and Yakuza crime information. This week is Fiction Week,
Yes,
which
it
means
is.
me and John have to fade away into
Take a
the
step back
background
and
and
let
crawl
reality
under the
take a break
duvet.
this week.
sit down, have a coffee, make love with someone, presumably with consent.
Presumably.
Wow, Corby's really getting to it, isn't it?
Help me, I'm going
It's only episode 2, and Matt's been ousted as a potential rapist.
Can we cut this section? This section's
No.
bad.
Oh no, this is good.
Is it?
This is any of this
Therapy. We need to make progress.
This is Matt basically doing confessions.
Tom, take us away
Anyway.
before I bury myself in a hole.
You already have.
I will be reading the plotline for the first episode of a teen soap drama thing that I wrote whilst I was a teen, and I believe Corby will be reading the synopsis of a manga that he has been looking at.
Which is arguably also a teen drama, but this is more based in memes.
We'll see which one comes out on top.
And by that, I mean... Yeah, I'll get to that when I talk about
John
it.
is very much sharing my facial expression right now.
Really?
eager.
Maybe with less of the murder smile.
Look, I've got no other smile, alright?
Do you know what it is? You show too much of your teeth, and that's what makes it menacing.
And don't know. I feel like
I smile, you dick.
Honestly, John, why can't you just have less
on
teeth?
display. It's unnerving.
no. That's worse. That's worse. Stop it. See, this is why I feel like I should upload the VOD, which I'm also recording. They get the context of the jokes.
We can do that if we ever get a Patreon.
Patreon bonus episodes is just odd content.
I keep on accidentally killing the camera.
Even longer and uncut.
If you hear a thud, that's John's camera falling over.
It's fine.
Small Lebanese boy he has holding it up is getting tired.
God damn it, Richard! Hold it straight.
Typical
Anyway.
Lebanese name, Richard.
We are sidetracking so hard right now.
Of course we are, because we got here from fiction.
Fact
Are you
boys
guys
derail
ready
the
to
fiction.
experience some fiction?
No.
Yes.
Tough.
Yes.
You're going to.
Yes.
So this is a drama that I wrote while I was maybe in year 9, or I started it around that time.
Just for the record, in case there's anyone that's not English and doesn't understand what year 9 means, can you give us an age?
No, that
Because-
is not correct.
I think it's about 14, 15, isn't it, year 9?
Yes.
Yeah.
The characters in this are roughly about 15 or 16. I think I was maybe 14 when I began writing this. So
Looked at your senpais and thought, yes, I can make these into it.
Right, okay. For any Americans, year 9 is 8th grade.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah.
So are they always a grade behind us?
Yes. Right, I'm already pissed off the majority of our audience. Right, okay.
Are they still here?
American.
I think the majority of our audience is the 4 of us so far.
Well, yes.
We still need to post that
To be
first
fair,
episode.
it's no one, because we haven't posted it.
I've only listened to half of the previous episode, so I'm one of those listeners that hops on and then just leaves.
You are everyone.
Who's actually okay? Who here has actually listened to the first one the whole way through?
Well, I
did.
listened to it in editing, so
Okay,
yes.
everyone but
We
Matt.
also all listened to it because we were all there when it was recorded.
So everyone but Matt, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, right.
Max locked off the podcast halfway through, which is concerning
Anyway.
considering the second half is him.
As we were saying, year 9, teen
So, yeah.
drama.
Wonderful year.
The name of this show is One Small Town, and it is set in Ilkley, which is the town where Matt and I went to school.
Why do I
And-
feel like you're about to rip
Living.
off One Tree Hill and Smallville?
The name One Small Town is very similar to One Tree Hill. That is because I was watching a lot of One Tree Hill at the time.
Oh dear.
I won't be able to tell if you've ripped any of this off because I've
This
never
is
watched
just the pilot script for One Tree Hill.
How did you get that?
It's not. To begin with, I'm just going to give you a list of the names of the characters that we've got. So we have Elliot, Simon, Rachel, Ben, Ivy, David, Drake, Jenny, Mike Ethan, and Amy.
That's a
Mike
lot of
Ethan?
people.
Yes, he has a double.
They aren't two
first
separate
name.
people.
No.
God.
Mike Ethan has Jekyll and Hyde syndrome.
That would make this plot better.
Do I need to make notes, Tom? I feel like I should make notes.
You can
I'm real
if you
glad-
want to.
I've already forgotten most of them, except the one person who's got the same name as the medical bag used to keep people fluid intake, right?
What, Mike Ethan?
IV.
Oh,
that's just occupy my thoughts now.
She's a drip.
Hey.
There, we haven't met her yet.
you will soon. So
Oh, fuck.
I'm going to open with the opening stage directions, and then I'm not going to read verbatim the whole thing, just to put you at ease. But I will read some of it. So,
If you do want to hear the whole thing in verbatim, please leave us a 5-star review on wherever we post
demand
this.
that we do a reading where we
God.
play multiple characters.
Hey, you give me the parts. I'll be Mike Ethan any day of the week.
Mike and Ethan.
No, they're the same person, Matt. Did you not
They're the
listen to
same
the
person.
synopsis?
Are they secretly like a conjoined twin kind of thing?
No,
All right. Okay.
his name is just Mike Ethan.
I don't
Yeah.
think I've ever met someone with a double-barreled first name. I've met someone with a double-barreled surname. Never first name. I feel like it's kind of
Anyway.
an American thing.
Anyway,
Anne Marie.
Oh yeah.
You fool.
We open,
Anyway.
as you might expect, with opening credits. A sunny day near the end of the summer holidays. Elliot is leaning against a wall, holding a small bag at the start of Station Road, waiting for someone. He has a bored expression on his face, as if he's been waiting for a substantial amount of time. Simon can be seen walking up the road towards him. Elliot is looking the other way.
I am getting so many images in my head. The walk I've just given Simon is like ministry Billy walks that walk. I can't show it on camera.
Simon and Elliot have a brief bit of argument over what time they were actually supposed to meet. Elliot had said to meet at 2:45. Simon had just thought he said 3.
I'm getting melodrama vibes.
It's not like completely dramatic. It's just like mild annoyance.
3 o'clock, you bastard.
There is a bit an exchange where Simon, I'm sure you said 3. Elliot, I did. Right after I said 2:45.
I already don't like this. I already don't like this man.
This script.
Just looking at John's face. He's gone from smiling to just shrinking his mouth tighter and tighter.
That's called expressions, Matt. You haven't got a camera. You're basically just a brain in a robot at this point. I don't care.
I mean,
Anyway.
when have I ever been anything else? You've never seen the real me.
Good. Anyway, Tom, continue.
Have we ever seen the real any of us?
His brain's IBM.
Elliot mentions that the reason he wanted to meet Simon is that their old friend Ben from primary school has just moved back into town. Elliot says that he knows this because Ben looked him up on Facebook, and Simon gets a little weirded out that Ben hasn't looked him up yet. And then there is a very ham-fisted way to deliver their entire name to the audience. Simon says, hang on, there have to be more people on Facebook called Elliot Tavern than Simon Cobstern. I have a very unique name compared to you.
It's not the most ham-fisted thing.
No.
It's a little ham-fisted.
It's got a touch of pork knuckle.
There is always that in, like, pilot
Sorry, can you
or,
just
like,
explain to me
opening
what
of
pork
story.
knuckle is, John?
Like a lesser form of hand-fisted. Let's continue.
Oh,
No one else wants to pull John up on that?
No.
I didn't hear it. But
To be honest,
yeah. I think I just blanked it out.
Oh god, now I'm just going to sound like the only madman who heard John just say something about pork and knuckles and...
This happened to Zach before he went. Anyway.
You got pork knuckled.
Pork knuckle. I gave him a right pork knuckling.
Oh god.
And there's the title for this week's episode.
Oh dear. Anyway, Tom, please continue with the...
Elliot mentions that there is going to be an end of summer party that night, which takes Simon aback because it's the first he's heard of it. And a lot of this episode will be building up to this party, which I will talk about more in the next episode. But
God.
basically, Elliot says...
Presumably a party.
Elliot says that end of summer parties have to be spontaneous, which is debatable.
Postaneous parties, spontaneous parties even, are the worst kind of parties.
But he also says that almost everyone in school is planning to go to it, which is contradictory at best.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like you've watched every American high school show ever. And
Parties
just
have to be...
pulled that.
Parties have to be spontaneous, but it has to happen. But it's definitely happening tonight. Remember that.
Always
Yes.
happening.
Schedule.
It's definitely happening tonight at 6. Be there on time.
Not 6:15. No, 6!
They meet Ben at the station, and the first thing they notice is Ben has become a lot more attractive since they last saw him. He's like, and then there is
Got like a slow down pause of sexy music and a camera panning up his body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Genuinely, when you said in the first thing you noticed is my mind just went, Ben's hot now. And you went, Ben is
Yeah.
more attractive. I was like, God damn it.
Ben is hot now, which is a plot point.
I mean, it's summer.
and then
it's
there
pretty
is
warm, temperature's high.
They call it out, and then there is some very outdated laddie bants where they start to accuse each other of being gay because they said, "Oh, you're hot now." Not in so many words, but yeah, which I feel indicates the time frame where this was written in.
Are we saying it's aged poorly?
Yes, that's what we're saying.
What was this? About almost 10 years ago now?
God, Tom, you're a terrible person. How could you?
I know. because I wanted to.
Yeah, Matt, let's not talk about terrible people,
Oh, yeah.
considering your earlier confession.
So they start talking about past relationships, and Elliot mentions his last girlfriend had a crazy family, and I need to quote what he says about this directly.
Right, let's hit us
Ben
with
asks, how crazy were they? And Elliot says this: don't laugh, but they wanted to sell my hamster on eBay, and when I told her they couldn't, she put 15 gerbils in my sock drawer.
What
Anyone else get
what is the hamster to gerbil economy going on here?
It's
1 to 15? Clearly.
15 gerbils to
terrible
one hamster.
exchange rate.
I was going to say...
You go into another country, it's like, 5 hamsters, and they just give you just an armful of gerbils.
Where am I meant to
imagine
store
just,
this?
Like, going to the sock drawer and just like, well...
And the gerbils turning to him, they all pause and look up, and the lead one is like, well, stock in its mouth midway eating. Mental family, Tom.
Yeah.
Mental family. I know exactly
was
what you're talking about with just hamsters in gerbil drawers and all that.
Don't even get me started on ferrets.
Oh, yeah, I like
Please
ferrets.
do. Please get started on ferrets.
I like ferrets. They're cute, long boys.
They are very good.
A
They
ferret's
go
the
down
ones
Yorkshireman's trousers.
A ferret's the ones that
Like
die
that.
if they don't have sex.
Yes. Some
Same.
of yeah, there's this condition called like a plastic anemia or something that some female ferrets get.
Really bad, like, in terms of, like, design by nature, that is terrible.
I mean, I don't know. It encourages you to get your fuck on. It's not a bad idea.
Can you imagine, though, how, like, we'd be dying
Ferrets
as
get their
a
fuck on.
species if it happened to us?
Well, to be fair, it only happens to the girls, so it would affect literally no one in this podcast.
And probably no one watching this podcast either.
Now we have no listener base.
Exactly.
There's time.
That's the American
No one was
and
harmed
everyone
during the
else.
making of this podcast.
I am. Matt's here. I have to listen to him. That's not fair. Anyway,
Hot topic discussion on gerbils and hamsters.
the ferret gerbil dichotomy. Let's continue. All right.
Elliot says to Ben, maybe you'll get your love life swinging back into action. And as he says this, he swings his bag around by the rope, but loses grip and it flies off and flies into a nearby girl. This is Ivy.
She need an IV now.
She didn't know that because she's always in the hospital every episode. New accident.
Hey.
I'm going to say that's a different anime I could talk about, but no.
No.
She hands the bag back to Elliot and they introduce each other to each other. Ivy says...
She's very... I'm going to say, she's very understanding for having just been hit in the face with a bag.
She does say, so Elliot, do you always throw your bags at girls you've never met before?
How does she know it? Oh my god! Because they literally just
He said his name.
I thought she literally the bag just literally ricocheted off her face, kind of thing. She turns around and then says that. I'd be like, oh god, this
What?
is
No.
this is a horror.
They run over. Elliot apologizes and introduces himself, and then she says
So
that.
physics aren't different in this world. Bags don't bounce and ricochet off people.
Yeah.
No, but as I say, I still feel like she's far too understanding.
You forgot to mention this all took place in low
Maybe
gravity.
maybe I've seen too many tsunderes, but I still feel like she's far too understanding.
Yeah.
Look, I
Elliot
can't be
tries
into
to
you.
explain that he tripped and the bag flew out of his hand, but he is very nervous and feeling very awkward about it. And so Ben just cuts in and saves him and is like, "What are you doing here?"
I'm so hot.
He just pans into
angel
frame and
scene
it like
behind him with,
glows
like, a
with the
glowing
angelic
light.
thing.
He's lit from the waist up.
How many eyes do they have?
Oh no, Lucifer!
He has two eyes.
Oh,
It's not mentioned in the script, but it's implied.
just one thing quickly, just because Matt mentioned Lucifer. I looked up the description, and apparently he's that the guy before was lit in like flame from the waist up, and below he was hairy like a cat. So there's even more cat shit going on. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
So much cat stuff.
So yes, Hot Man has turned up and said, "What are you doing here?"
Basically just to try and save Elliot from making even more of a fool of himself than he already has. And Ivy says she is there to meet her cousin David. Ben asks her if she's going to the end of summer party, and she says that yes, she is going with her friends Jenny and Mike Ethan. She then sees David.
Finally.
She sees David in the station and goes to meet him. As she's going, Elliot tries to ask her for her number, and she says, "I'll give it to you at the party."
Yep.
No.
You never ask for the number. That's
Yeah.
What?
Then Ben and
Tried
Simon
to
just
out.
completely grill Elliot for very obviously having a crush on her.
throwing bags into people will do that.
That's where I've been going wrong in life.
I need to chuck more bags at people.
Yeah, it is an interesting way to have a meet cute between two characters.
Just the idea of just like being up in the club like a duffel bag and just go, whoop, and just like, hey there.
You're just having a conversation with just someone, and then a duffel bag sideswipes and takes them out.
When people say you've bagged yourself a girlfriend, it really takes on a whole new meaning.
I'm liking it. It's not awful so far. Like, I am curious how much of a love life 14-year-olds have in terms of using the word love.
That's a quote.
We'll get there. Yeah.
Any
This
14-year-old
episode-
listeners, please let us know.
I am just steadily digging my hole.
That's what we brought you on the podcast for. It makes the rest of us look better.
It really does.
Yeah, this episode is more just setting up pieces on a chessboard and for things to come. It's very
Of which you then
Calm
proceed to
down.
play checkers with them.
yeah.
Sorry, I've still got the image of someone playing chess. They just pick up a bad next to him and just go whack in the face. Checkmate. I don't know why.
Well, he threw his bag at me. I've got to give him a chance.
Bag takeover, checkers and chess. Someone climbs out the duffel bag and continues playing.
It's just like, well, I wasn't into him, but then I just got like an Adidas to the face, and now I'm not so sure. Sponsored. No, anyway.
Oh,
Right.
how did you meet? Well, he totally sideswiped me with a Jan Sport bag, and after that, I couldn't resist him. His just eyes are like pointing in other directions. You're pretty sure they have mild concussion.
So Ivy goes over to meet her cousin David. Asks how his big trip to Italy was. David immediately, and it says this in the stage directions, suddenly starts acting shiftily. He says,
Is that how you think Italians act?
Turns collar up to side thing. He's like, it was fine.
Oh.
he says it was a good trip, and he says that they ran into Drake's brother. And Ivy asks about him.
Fabiano.
And we learn that Drake has a brother named Victor. And David said that Victor has seen better days. Ivy says she actually wanted to know how Drake was doing, but thanks for the update on Drake's brother. I'm noticing now going through this, we haven't established who Drake is or what his deal is. But Drake and David are friends, basically.
Also, I'm surprised. Like in the whole of Italy, they managed to bump. Did they go to meet Drake, or did they just happen to bump into Drake in the whole of Italy? They just happened to meet up.
Oh no, I will admit, that has happened to me before. I've been like on a holiday in Spain, and my parents have bumped into someone that they know while we were there, from where we live.
Small world.
Everyone is trying to escape Doncaster, let's be fair.
Yeah.
That is true.
No, David and Drake went to Italy together and bumped into Drake's brother Victor there. That's
Lives in Italy, or again that same scenario. Only Drake.
maybe we'll find out.
Is Victor a drug lord?
He's part of the mafia.
You're not right, but you are very close to right.
He's got to be part of the mafioso if he's Italian.
But I've got to say, cousin David, just the name, he sounds like a fake person. I don't know why.
Cousin Dave.
They're all fake people, John. It's fiction.
No, I know, but I mean, like he doesn't exist even in this narrative. I don't know why. I know he's there, and I know he's saying stuff, but I still don't feel like he's real in the show.
I went to meet Dave.
And it turns out David was dead all along.
Ivy asks about David's parents, her aunt and uncle, and he's also shifty answering that. He kind of deflects the question. He says, I can't speak to them right now.
Sure, you could just say, nah, they're good. Definitely alive and not in a hole I buried. I dug, even. Oh, look, a bird.
We'll find out.
That's a good hypothetical, actually. How do you bury a hole?
You dig a... Huh.
I'm not drunk enough for this conversation.
I am getting there. Anyway.
Ivy brings up the end of summer party that she and her friends are going to, and immediately David's attention is grabbed. He's now interested. He asks if a lot of people are going to it. And Ivy says, yeah, pretty much the whole year. Then she says she has to see him later because she's got to go and give Mike Ethan his birthday present. And David says, that's fine, I've got to meet Drake anyway. Which is interesting because they've just met up. It's a very odd entry and exit.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, I've got to meet my cousin. There's my cousin. Right, got to go meet my friend. Off I go. It reminded
Friends
me
before
of
family.
Reading back, it reminded me of how people interact in The Room. Like people,
hi, Mark.
You're very true. Yeah.
because people just turn up in that movie and they're like, "Hi, I've been looking for you all day. Anyway, gotta go."
You're my favourite customer. Anyway.
I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa.
As soon as Ivy walks away, David gets a sinister expression on his face. He pulls out a phone from his pockets, and as he pulls out his phone, he accidentally pulls out a small sachet, which falls to his feet.
Sachet?
Yes. He very quickly picks it up and puts it back out of sight. Then he calls Drake and tells him that they've got a job tonight. Don't ask me about it on the phone, just meet me at 4. And that is the end of scene 1. So if it's not blindingly clear, David is a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got that image I had in my head then was great when you said sachet. My brain went, no, he means a sachet of drugs, not a dance sachet, which is the image I had.
Yeah.
Oops, I dropped my drugs.
He's a drug dealer. Oh no,
I
wait,
dropped
worse.
the 3 mayonnaise I stole from that hotel.
He's a drug dealer. Oh no, wait, no, it's worse. He's a theatre major.
Do drugs come in sachets, like a sachet?
You're asking the wrong person. I'm gonna be honest.
Do you know,
When I wrote this,
there's the
I
little
thought,
deal bag things. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the little seal bags, but now that Tom's mentioned mayonnaise, all I can imagine is a mayonnaise packet of cocaine. So, I'm just gonna put some sauce on my
The
dinner.
small pouches you get at like Burger King.
There's a terrible mix-up at the hotel buffet.
Now I'm just thinking of just someone just snorting powder off a chicken burger. I'm just like, what? They say 5 spices, but they mean 6.
Instead of salt on the McDonald's chips, it's cocaine. That's why the McDonald's chips are so Moorish.
And quite flaccid.
Who's ever described a chip as flaccid?
No, to be fair, I know what
Many
you mean.
people, many times.
See, it's not me that just thinks it.
Flaccid implies that your chip is wilting.
I'm not a good baseline for it, but yeah.
What,
No,
chip or flaccid?
Being normal.
Oh, just you fucking wait.
Uh,
It's not this week because I wanted you to ease you all into anime slightly, but when we fucking get there, aka next week, next fiction
me as
week.
a non-anime watcher.
you watched anime?
Once.
That's what they all say.
No, I have watched anime. Anyway, Tom.
Right.
Out of curiosity, how long is this? How many acts are we looking at? Scenes? How many scenes are we
There
looking
are 8 scenes. We've just got to scene 2.
Jesus
Scene 2,
Christ.
This is going slower than I thought it might.
That's alright, we keep interrupting.
Yeah.
Alright.
Scene 2, we're introduced to Rachel and Amy. Rachel is Simon's sister, and Amy is her friend. They also talk about going to the end of summer party. And then it comes up in conversation that Amy has some beef with Jenny, a character we haven't met yet. Amy claims that Jenny hacked into her Facebook account and sent abuse to her friends and family. But there is a hint that that's not all there is to this.
Why has everyone got to have ulterior motives?
I'm in.
Just like the Matrix thing
Every
behind him.
90s hacker.
Plus on the sunglasses while sat indoors.
We also get a specific reference to what time frame this is happening in. Amy says it's 2 weeks before the holidays end, which seems early to have an end of summer party. Wouldn't you
Yeah.
say?
You would have thought it'd be the last weekend or something.
Yeah. I'm
Look,
not
I mean,
sure
they've got-
why I wrote that, but that's where we are.
I mean, they got to have time to get out of prison if they do anything illegal, which definitely won't happen later out in
Oh
the
no,
plot.
certainly not. They do actually specifically say we're not going to break any rule except the underage drinking rule.
Whoa!
Wow, so edgy, but no smoking, though, guys. Seriously, I'll damage your health.
Life lessons!
Amy also says that she has about 50 quid to spend, which is a lot.
Yeah,
especially
as a kid,
To be
that's
fair,
funny.
kids.
To be fair, ilkly teens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Amy is one of the richer kids.
That's a drink in the yard.
Oh. I wish.
It's not the yard anymore, Corby. It's the heart.
Let's not talk about this one specific town in Yorkshire. Let's continue.
They'll find out where y'all are based!
The whole show is set in one specific town in Yorkshire.
I know.
It's gonna come up.
I just hope David turns up with a shirt that says "not a drug dealer" on it. I don't know why. I just really hope that
would
there in the show and just not addressed.
That would be
No one
brilliant.
brings it up.
Right. Our next scene is at Mike Ethan's house. Ivy arrives to give him his birthday present.
The favourite Mike Ethan.
This is our introduction to Mike Ethan. He says, don't worry about bringing alcohol, I've got it covered, because his dad works in a alcohol shop.
Noting the inverted commas, Tom.
This is
That
Mike
is what was
Ethan's
written in the
So-
script. I don't think I had learnt the term off-license yet.
I was gonna say, the way you phrase it with the inverted commas makes it sound like he brews moonshine?
Maybe he does, we don't know.
Welcome to Mike Ethan's dad's alcohol shop. We have several alcohol for you to choose.
Oh.
Would you like one or multiple instances of alcohol?
This alcohol must be bought in packs and cannot be sold separate as alcohol.
Jenny is already at Mike Ethan's house, and she is on the laptop on her own laptop for quite a lot of this scene.
Is she wearing sunglasses while indoors,
Yes.
hacking into the Matrix?
You just hear just rapping
Oh.
in the background.
Just smacks her face against the keyboard. I'm in.
Which is a laptop, so she's just face planted the computer.
Oh yeah, no, I imagine bringing face to keyboard, not keyboard to face. That's the way it works, right?
Well, it's a touch screen and she hasn't worked out how to use it.
They
God.
begin talking about the party that they're all going to. Ivy mentions that she said she would try and find the guys she met at the station earlier. Jenny then accuses her of wanting to find Amy and being friends with her, which is very insecure thought process, I think.
How dare you make friends with this person?
For a moment, I thought like she was going to accuse her of being like a filthy normie trying to hook up with a boy.
To be honest, that's what I thought it was going.
I would have
Yeah.
gone for something more like accuses them of being a bit slutty or being a bit harlotty rather than just normie.
No.
Well, the fact that we made it sound like she's hacking into the Matrix and doesn't leave the house make me feel like she's a shut-in. Ergo, she hates people that actually can
You can't
function
see
in
the screen,
society.
it's on 4chan.
Yeah, why are there people on that screen with an anonymous mask on? No reason.
I mean, no reason.
God, Jenny, what happened to your voice?
It's this modulator I got off eBay. Who was being sold along with a hamster, I think.
All I got was
Weird. The guys
gerbils.
wanted 15 gerbils for it.
So yeah, Jenny very defensively accuses them of wanting to be friends with Amy, but they say that's not it at all, and they defend her in the whole Jenny versus Amy situation. They say it's very clear that Amy bullies you constantly. And then Ivy says that the actual people she wanted to meet were Elliot and his friends. I don't know, Ben or someone. And Jenny pulls that out of
Elliot's the other one, and the one that's very attractive.
Yeah.
There's
Jenny
one
asks
that's
if there's any
super hot.
particular reason Elliot sticks in mind. Instead of saying that he threw his bag at me, Ivy says he just talked the most. And
Bagged
then
and tagged.
That makes people voice talking very attractive aspect of individuals. I personally do love sound.
Yes, fellow humans, I too love the sound of speech.
Matt, can you turn your camera on at some
speech.
point?
I love that
want
sound.
to know you're okay. I feel like I've got a gun to your head and you're just trying to figure out a way out of this.
So Jenny and Mike Ethan then accuse Ivy of fancying Elliot. And then Jenny recognizes the name Ben and says that her mum said there was a new boy coming to school called Ben and it might be him, because Jenny's mum works at the school.
Meanwhile, she's already hacked into his profile and like, this is him, this is where he lives, this is what he does for a living.
Back at me.
Yeah.
She's hacked into the train security cameras and like, I see he threw a bag at you. You should not be trying to date this man.
Why is this top search result bagged and tagged?
Jenny says that she has to go and do some revision. And then Mike Ethan says, revision? I thought that's what you were doing on your laptop the whole time. And Jenny says, no, I've been emailing and surfing the internet.
4chan.
Code for hacking, I think.
Dear internet.
Emailing
Stop!
and surfing the internet,
Sincerely.
not emailing the internet.
Emailing, you need a comma, because if it's emailing and surfing the internet.
It's just such a weird phrase, isn't it? Even for like almost a decade ago, just I'm surfing the internet.
Well, surfer bros.
Radical,
online.
dude!
I've got to catch that gnarly data wave. Anyway.
Data waves.
Jenny leaves. Mike Ethan asks if Ivy wants to hang out for a bit before his dad gets back, but then Ivy says, actually, I should probably get going. I said I'd meet David later. And in my notes I've written, Ivy, you just got here. This is the second time you've done this.
Did you design a character with extreme ADHD?
I was going to say, either that or commitment issues, one
Is
of
she
the
like
two.
a shark? She has to keep walking to like keep air flowing for a lunge.
I just love that
Otherwise,
she met with David and then cut the meeting short with David because she had to go and meet Mike Ethan, and then cut the meeting with Mike Ethan short so she could go and meet David
go back
again.
to meet David.
She's just bouncing between them like the DVD logo when you pause the screen for too long.
One day she'll reach the corner.
Oh.
Just got someone to walk into a corner just saying, I've peaked, and then just leave it again.
When Mike Ethan asks her if she wants to hang out a bit before his dad gets back, he then says, before my dad gets back, and the firing line's open, indicating he does not have the best relationship with his dad, which will come up later. Then we're on to scene 4.
Sorry. Just the idea of just bullets coming right through the window, just like a drive-by.
Hey, Mike Ethan, you'll never guess what I found at the alcohol shop today. It's a gun.
Hey, Mike Ethan, this gun's double-barreled, like your name.
Meanwhile, like, Jenny just doesn't move from the laptop. She's still hacking into the Matrix while there's warfare going on around her.
Bags fly by.
So, in the next
feel
scene... Sorry,
I'm gonna say, I feel like our headcanon we've already created may be better than what you've written.
In the next scene, Ben, Elliot, and Simon are walking down by the primary school, and they're having a discussion about Elliot's music taste, and Simon accuses him of only liking a band named Elliot Minor because it's got Elliot in it. And that is a real band.
Oh god, copyright.
Minor.
Yeah, I can't play any Elliot Minor for you because of copyright issues, but they do exist,
They exist.
and that's what the conversation is about. And then they get to the primary school gates and sort of look in and start to get nostalgic about the last day they had in primary school together, which was the last time they all hung out together, because Ben moved to Ireland after that.
Question. I mean, I know these kids are like 16, but I don't remember what the fuck happened at
They're
primary
14
school.
or 15 apparently if they're in year 9.
I remember the last day of...
They're about to go into year 10.
Right.
Whatever.
So they'll be 15 going into 16 then.
So they're about to have their first year of GCSEs.
Yeah.
I remember leaving my primary school, but that's because I turned and chatted to some guy next to me and said, I'll see you around, and never saw him again. For some reason, that image
He
just
faded away. There
I
on the
don't know what
spot.
happened to
The
this
last
man.
thing he knew about Matt was that he was a chronic liar.
But yeah, they're nostalgic about the last day because they're remembering a water fight they had, which they mention ended up with the three of them falling into the school pond somehow. It's not mentioned how that exactly happened, just that is how that day ended.
Which one of these kids isn't real and drowned in the pond?
I just had really said they had a water fight and fell into the pond. My first thought, just because of weird stuff I know about people, was like, just like Stalin. And like, I'll explain that at a later date.
Okay.
Not now.
That's for a future episode, so be sure to follow the podcast wherever we post this.
For your daily dose of Stalin.
Love my
Weekly.
daily dose of Stalin. So, the three lads then see that Amy and Jenny are walking towards each other, but on a corner, so they can't see each other, but they are about to bump into each other.
I'm very impressed Jenny left the house. Okay.
She's still on her laptop, still hacking away.
Oh god, honestly,
She is carrying her laptop, and then they bump into each other, literally, and Jenny almost drops her laptop. Amy says, "Why don't you watch where you're bloody going, freak show?" Which is a great opening line, I think.
I'm getting the sense that Amy's very much, the popular clique.
Yes.
Clique? Is she from China?
clique. Yeah, clique.
Clique is a
I only associate it with the
Chinese
Guanzi clique.
concept.
Have I used the wrong word? Have I used an Americanism? Should I remove myself?
Oh no.
I'm going to Google that while Tom tells the rest of the
At
story.
which point, Jenny turns around and cold clocks her with a laptop.
I'm going to hack the system! Whack!
So yeah, Jenny has a go at her for nearly making her drop her computer, and then an argument follows, which does include the line from Jenny, "Amy, we both know that is not what this is about." So again, another indication there is something more here than the surface level tensions.
Yeah. I'm going to say a quick thing. I've just Googled clique, as in CLIQUE. It says a small, close-knit group of people who do not readily allow others to join them.
Yeah.
I was right!
No, he was right, yeah. Sorry, I wasn't sure that was in question.
Vindication for Matt.
I can feel happy about myself now. I'm done. Podcast over. You just realise you can't see me get up and leave.
No, because you haven't turned on your camera. No.
He doesn't have a camera
have
on
a
his
camera.
end.
Argument has ensued, Tom.
I'm
Words were
gonna
said.
say a few lines from the argument. Jenny, you only hate me because you think the fact I can use a computer makes me a geek, and you, Little Miss Popular, can't be seen with a geek because it would harm your social life, and also you wouldn't get to be so selfish and bitchy.
This is literally just like the argument. This is the argument I've literally think I heard on Anohana once.
Amy, I appreciate you trying to act tough to intimidate me, but it really isn't working. Hey, maybe you could type yourself a script on that pathetic excuse for a computer, then you wouldn't have to try and think up insults on the spot. Now please let me pass so I can go to my house.
Wait a minute.
Why was that suddenly polite?
Also, like, she's calling the laptop pathetic, meaning she knows what a powerful computer is.
Yeah, it's
Ergo, she's arguably
an
more
interesting
nerd.
argument.
It just feels so weird, her phrase and her stuff. She's like, it feels a bit like bloody Mark out of Peep Show trying to insult people. Why don't you bloody well watch where you're going?
Exactly what it sounds like, yes.
It's really weird.
As Amy walks away, Jenny says, I wouldn't want to stop you becoming more spoilt than you already are. Amy says, oh, one more thing, turns around and slaps Jenny in the face. And then she walks away. Simon, Ben, and Elliot, seeing this, rush over to make sure Jenny is okay.
Which one of them is getting with her? Or is it all Elliot?
Oh, it will become apparent. Elliot throws his bag at her.
Oh,
Another one for the harem!
That what happens at the end of weddings now. Instead of the bride tossing flowers, tosses a duffel bag.
New traditions.
That's what's happening at my wedding.
Joke that only the four of us get.
So they go to make sure that she's okay, and Ben asks what the deal is between the two of them. Jenny says that she thought everyone knew, but Ben's like, I just got into town. I've got no idea who anyone is. And then Jenny just says it's complicated. Then
Doesn't look that complicated to me.
Upfront and clear.
Jenny says that her friend Ivy said that she met a new guy called Ben, and I guess that's you. Simon introduces himself.
I forgot Simon was there. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Simon's the one that's been dead the whole time. I'm already calling it.
Simon
Simon's not
hasn't said anything or done
had
anything.
much to do so
turning
far.
up, and I'm just like...
That's why I feel like he's been dead the whole time.
He's the one that pulled them in the pond.
Pulled them in. He's the spirit that's trying to drown preschoolers.
He's not.
They
He's
all
not a
drowned in
damn
the pond
kelp.
and they're ghosts now.
He's not a kelpie. He's on Facebook. It's alright.
Are you saying Kelpies can't be on Facebook, John?
Yes.
It's an anti-Kelpie. It's a
Of course,
racist
nasty kelpie.
But yeah.
Okay, I still prefer the pork knuckle remark, but that was a very close second to being the title of this episode. He's not a kelpie. He's on Facebook.
Oh, I feel like I'm coming up with all of this week.
So Elliot is like, did you mention you were friends with Ivy? And he's being very subtle about the fact that he likes Ivy.
Ivy? Did you say Ivy? Where is she?
And Jenny's just like, yeah, she mentioned you. She said you talk a lot. Anyway, I've got to go. And then she goes. And...
To be fair, that's like the most normal reaction I've seen so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, like in terms of people having to leave, that feels the most.
Stop asking me questions. I need to go back inside, please.
The sun, it burns. Ah.
Jenny walks away and Simon watches her go, and it should be clear from the expression on Simon's face that he likes Jenny. And then, once she's gone, Ben and Simon both turn on
More
Elliot
spirits
again
for me.
about being very indiscreet about his crush on Ivy.
I do like how, despite how you describe Ben as being hot, nobody seems to... That's not like a defining thing of like everyone who sees him, like as opposed to when you watch a lot of stuff, it's like, this is the hot guy. And I'm like, oh my, I
also do like the thing where it's like, you must be the new kid, because obviously Ivy told me about that. It's not the fact I've never seen you before.
Yeah.
I mean, she did blatantly hide the fact that she'd done, like, looked him up.
I hacked into the mainframe and found out who you were.
Why does she sound like that?
Oh, that's the voice modulator she got off eBay again.
that she's
Got on the wrong setting.
Will start pouring out and she'll scoop them back in.
You thought the Facebook was your ally.
But it was me.
Lord Kelpie.
Our next scene is back with Mike Ethan, who has had a pretty shit birthday so far. His friends... First of all, Jenny... Yeah, it's his birthday.
Yeah, everyone's turned up and fucked off again.
That's why Ivy went to his house to give him his present. But Jenny was there on her laptop the whole time emailing and then left. Then Ivy turned up for like a second and then left again.
These guys are dicks.
And then his dad hunted him with a shotgun, yes.
Yeah. He's now in his bedroom, pacing up and down and talking to himself in front of a mirror. He is saying things like, Mum, Dad, I've got something to tell you. Mum, Dad, this might come as quite a shock. I need to tell you, I've been wanting to tell you something for... He squeezes a stress ball and kicks a football across the room. And then he just says, I can't do this. And then, in a very subtle piece of stage direction, he hides inside his bedroom closet and says,
Very subtle.
In my notes, I did just write subtle in big capital letters.
Oh.
And then he's still talking to himself. You have to tell them sooner or later. I can't tell them. I'm not ready.
The parents
I'm not
are
gonna
walking
I'm not-
through the door like, we really shouldn't double-barreled his first name. He is jiggling and hiding hard.
He's got the
I was
Mom,
also-
Dad, I need to tell you something. I wish you'd just given me one name.
Also, when you said he hides in the closet, I'm not going to lie, I had that scene from like the end of The Binding of Isaac where he hides in his toy box and suffocates to death.
Right.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, it's bad. That's why you don't make them airtight. Anyway, right.
You sound like you're talking from experience.
Yeah, this is a classic Class 1C problem.
See, the kid should never be allowed in the toy box.
If you do, drill air holes. Not when the child's in there.
Our next scene is the meeting between David and Drake. Drake arrives and David calls him out for being late because it's after 4. A weird recurring theme is people being late for meetings in this episode. I don't know why, but it's coming up a lot.
I mean, to be fair, from like the fair few times we've arranged to do stuff in person,
never on
it's a
time.
common thread.
But yeah.
That might be just because of me and I get there like half an hour early because trains are fucking a pain in the arse, but
That's true.
hey, I don't care. I get Spoon's food.
God, we've got so much advertising this week.
We are not sponsored. But if anyone
Yet.
wants to sponsor us, please, I need more spoons.
Mm-hmm. We all need more spoons.
Some particularly around it. Anyway,
Drake apologizes for being late, and then David says, you work for me. I shouldn't have to remind you that I have the power to cast you back into what you used to have.
You're my bitch.
You're my bitch, Drake.
turns out
Why do
David's a necromancer.
Yeah.
I banish you!
I love these theories.
I was also going to say, like, I just imagine him sounding like Solid Snake as well.
But yeah. That's not even the edgiest thing he says this scene.
Oh, God.
What's
Also, like,
Drake's
the
brother
fact
doing in
that
Italy?
Every time we make a video game reference, it's gonna be like a 50-50 if Tom gets it.
I know who Solid Snake is.
But you don't know
He's
what
a snake, and he's not liquid or gas.
I mean, you're not wrong.
No, he's from...
Why the hell have you got a
Is that
kukri in your
Claw?
hand?
No, what? Nothing is happening, listeners. Stay tuned.
Poor Lebanese child.
What? No. Look, don't turn this back on me. You hold barrier, you.
So Drake is David's bitch.
Yeah. Drake does say, oh, we are friends too. Okay, come on. And then David brings up
Steady
that...
on, chap, we're
the-
friends.
Whoa! And then David tells him about the end of summer party that he's heard is being planned. And Drake's like, so we're going to get money off teenagers, which is an interesting thing to ask, because these guys are only like a couple of years older than the main cast.
Right.
Like, I would say Drake is maybe 17, David is
That was
maybe
going to be like
18.
my next question. I was going to be like, how old are these two?
Yeah.
Because you didn't specify earlier that they were older, so I just naturally assumed they were the same age.
Yeah.
No. But they're not that much older, though. So.
No, these gentlemen are older.
But yeah, and David says that it's going to be a party full of teenagers who are willing to do things they'll later regret. The perfect drug dealing opportunity.
John's expression right then.
Drake is like, wait a minute, isn't your cousin going to be at this party? And David says, yeah, what's your point? And Drake says, and I quote, you still...
Oh, that's an amazing place for Tom to breathe.
Tom just, they weren't at home. Tom just like kind of, I think he died. I think his connection died, but just the well. Jake replied.
Drake's actually a robot, and he just like he just crashed.
He's a bloody.
He's the most upper class robot you'll ever
He's just
see.
a Tuscan Raider.
What was the last thing I said?
And Drake says,
Can we keep as an in joke?
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, I'm gonna.
he's throwing a...
Drake brings up the fact that Ivy will be at the party, David's cousin, and says, you still haven't told her you're a drug dealer. As though that is just a thing that you tell someone.
Hey up, Ivy, just so you know, I'm a drug dealer now. Why'd I figure you?
I mean, I know where this is set,
Yeah.
but come on.
Weirdly enough, Ilkley, fun fact for everybody who's never been here, doesn't have a Yorkshire accent. It is the only spot in West Yorkshire which is neutral in tone.
That's because it's one of the few that has one of the few places in Yorkshire that actually has quite a bit of money.
That's right, the town itself owns money. The buildings, they keep paying me to go away.
Why are you still there then? Have they decided
have to take
The buildings keep paying him.
The buildings need to up
Buildings
their
like
ante.
it when people are inside them, John. It's a horrible fetishistic economy we live in. Anyway,
So, Drake is a little reluctant to do the drug dealing, but David convinces him in the end. And then they start talking about themselves, and they bring up some very non-casual subject matter in a very casual way.
I was gonna say, oh yes, like every evil villain, he monologues.
looks down at notes. Evil plan and monologue time. My favourite.
David says, I know what this is about. This is about Victor, isn't it? Get over it. he's gone, he's dead, and there's nothing you can do to change that. If you remember, Victor is Drake's brother, who they ran into in Italy.
Did he literally run into him? Is that why he's dead? He just fell
He
and
ran into him
a
with the
curb.
car. They were chucking a bag and it went overhead by accident and clocked Victor off a cliff.
The problem is, they
Which is
haven't
good, because if not, he would have had to date Victor.
Drake says, how do you think I feel waking up every morning knowing that I killed my own brother?
Way
It
too
is
casual a conversation to have. Where
very
are they
casual.
right now, by the way?
Just on the street.
Middle of Tesco.
Just having a chat, having a walk. Yeah.
Oh, you know how I killed my brother last weekend? Yeah, still think about
Yeah,
it. God.
it is very much. I will pepper in the fact that I murdered my own brother.
And I'm apparently not shocked in any way except maybe waking nightmares.
And then Drake asks David how he can live with himself, and David says this, which is a very edgelord quote, so prepare yourselves. I live by breathing, and if you don't like the fact that I breathe in danger, maybe we shouldn't be doing this together. Very edgy. To which Drake responds, you murdered your parents.
This is just such a...
This is just
Killed everyone!
Why did you do this?
They're just exchanging exposition at this point.
It's like your younger self couldn't work out how to put the exposition in.
Yeah, it's exactly that.
You murdered your parents?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh,
That
You
is
murdered your brother?
amazing.
Yes. 5 minutes later, you also killed your parents.
There's a flashback.
Why am I still friends with you?
What the fuck happened in Italy?
Some mafia shit. I'm
the
convinced.
question of the day.
Oh my god. That
It's
is the
not-
TV series I want to see.
The
Also, who's
prequel
his
flashback.
guardian now? What's he saying? What is he? 17? Is he
Yeah.
18?
Technically, I think if you're 17, you don't. I don't know what the
He's,
legal
don't
cut
need
off.
one.
Drake is around 17, I would say.
The legal cut off for not needing a guardian 18. I can't remember. I
I
think
have
in some
no idea.
circumstances you can be younger.
Yeah.
Anyway, they've
Anyway.
murdered his parents with what
Drake-
the tools of the Italians.
So it's
The
clear
devil's
that,
pizza.
David has killed his own parents. Drake has
Circle
killed his
two.
own brother. It's an interesting family dynamic that those two have going on.
The family
Not
dynamic
anymore.
is they don't have one anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You've really subverted our expectation of a healthy family lifestyle.
Yeah. And it gets worse.
No. No, I mean,
Uh,
Ivy's still alive. For now.
So basically, Drake is still a little reluctant to sell drugs to the kids, and then David pulls out a gun and says,
Shit, they're in the middle of a street!
yep. He pulls out a gun and basically says, you better sell some drugs or I'll shoot you. What they're trying to get enough money from selling drugs
Real
to run away and start new lives. Essentially, that's their plan. It's not a great plan.
It's not.
I'm
Considering probably when they run away, they're just going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I have no words.
God.
David,
Oh.
there's this exchange which I like. David,
Oh, God.
you know it wouldn't do you any harm to trust me for once. You haven't been in jail. You don't know what it's like. Drake, yet we continue to deal illegal drugs.
Hey, this reminds me of prison.
Dealing legal drugs? Oh, mate, I got some Calpol in here. Do you want a
I've
sip?
got some paracetamol, if you know what I mean.
Or
I mean
take 2
paracetamol.
ibuprofens before you are drinking.
I've
You
got
won't
the
get a
eye brew
headache, mate.
for you.
So that's basically their plan. They're going to go to this end of summer party, sell drugs to the kids, and make money off it.
And David's going to try and get the family hat trick.
I mean, if it's brother and both of his parents, then surely that's already the hat trick.
Wait, which one's Ivy
No,
related
Drake.
Ivy
Drake's
is
brother's
David's
dead.
cousin.
David's parents
Right.
are dead.
Yeah.
Oh,
to?
okay.
Gotcha, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, having David and Drake begin like two names beginning with D is making this confusing.
Yeah, that, I can
Also,
see
is
that.
anyone else just imagining the singer Drake?
A little bit.
I was picturing a dragonborn.
So we've got the singer Drake and a guy wearing a t-shirt that says, I am not a drug dealer.
Oh, why did you do that when I was drinking?
I want some out of that.
You will sell the drugs at this party, or I will shoot you with this gun, which I have here. It's what the dialogue feels like to me.
Yeah.
Oh no. You killed your parents. Yes.
The only way
Yes.
It feels like. Do any of you guys remember Grange Hill?
I never watched Strange Hill. I think I remember seeing adverts
TV
for
show, which was essentially take Hollyoaks and put it in Hollywood.
Hollyoaks.
I'm so Hollywoke.
Take Hollyoaks and put it in a high school setting, essentially, and it really feels like Grange Hill.
Yeah, I think I saw the adverts that I had such a visceral reaction to it. I never went near.
Oh, I watched one episode. It was terrible.
I'm imagining everyone speaks like the original Resident Evil 1. Wait, don't go through that door.
Brings it full circle back to what Sean say. If you don't sell those drugs, I will shoot you with this gun that I have here in my hand.
Oh god, it's just made me think now. It's just like, what's an English victim doing in Italy? It's just basically like. Anyway.
How many scenes have we got left?
There's 2 scenes left.
2 scenes.
Oh, thank Christ.
Yeah. In the next scene, Amy arrives at her home and calls out for her mum. There is no reply. She has a bit of a look around. Goes upstairs, looks in her mum's room, and sees the wardrobe is open, empty. The bed is neatly made. There is no clothes or anything. She starts calling out again, confused by that. Sees that in the kitchen, her mum has left a note which basically says that she is gone, and her mum has also left her wedding ring with the note for some reason.
I mean, that implies that that was her mum's marriage on the rocks, or is she just decided, well, I don't like my daughter, time
Amy's
to leave?
parents are divorced already.
Wait, but she has a legal obligation to look after that child.
But that's illegal. From that. Sorry.
So yeah.
In all fairness, I don't like Amy, but I do feel a bit bad.
This is a horrible thing to happen.
Dear Amy, I'm leaving you.
Yeah, I haven't actually.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Twist mustache menacingly.
I like that she's divorced, but she's left the wedding ring.
Yeah,
for the child. It's like, I'm divorcing you.
The birth certificate is lying on the table, torn in half.
Oh. You were never born.
Oh god! Imagine you ripped a birth certificate in half, and it was like that scene in Back to the Future where the kids just start fading.
No.
Amy gets a call and picks it up, expecting to hear from her mum, but it's not. It's in fact Rachel calling to arrange what time they're going to meet for the party. And then Amy says, "Everything's fine. I'm fine, Rachel. I'll see you at 6." The words of someone who is definitely not fine when everything is not fine.
No, I imagine that is exactly the kind of response a person of that age would have.
Yeah. So she's shaken, but still agrees to go to the party.
Scared.
And then we cut over to Rachel's side of the phone call, and Rachel and Simon, who, if you remember, are brother and sister, are discussing the party and getting ready to go out. Simon mentions that Ben came back into town, and Rachel is surprised by this because she thought Ben
drowned in a pond
lived in
years ago.
Ireland.
Did he ride on your back into a pond where you drowned him like 3 years ago?
This is all taking place underwater in a house at the bottom of the pond.
So Rachel asks Simon why he didn't tell her, and Simon's like, "I didn't realize you'd be interested." And then Ben arrives, and he and Simon prepare to go back out and meet for the party. And then Ben has a bit of a conversation with Rachel, and Rachel definitely has a crush on Ben. Basically,
He's hot there.
Yeah, hot Ben. Everyone's favorite
Rachel, why are
character.
you leaving with that suspiciously large bag?
Yeah.
reckon you could
Ben,
fit a
why
whole
are you-
person in there?
Ben, why are you cold to the touch?
Ben, why does my hand pass right through you?
Let's hope the bag doesn't. Clickety clack, get into my sack.
Hey. So,
It was like a little tap dance jig before she puts it over him.
Simon and Ben go upstairs to get Simon's phone, and then Ben decides that they should play a little prank on Elliot. So they call him up, and they tell him that they thought for fun they'd go to the party dressed like an animal. Elliot, on the other end of the phone, is like, are you joking? And Ben convinces him that he's serious. He doesn't have to be a full head-to-toe costume, but wear something that's like an animal.
Wear that bear pelt you've got in your front room.
Elliot asks what they're going to be, and they think on the spot, and Ben says he's going to be a hedgehog, and Simon says he's going to be an otter.
Otter's like the most nondescript animal you could possibly be. It's like, are you a slightly big weasel? Are you...
On the other end of the
Is a
phone...
water weasel.
And he drowned in the pond! It makes sense!
Elliot starts looking around for anything animal-like that he could wear, and his eyes come to rest on a hippopotamus tea cozy, and says, I can go as a hippo.
I know exactly what that's a reference
And
to.
yes,
Does
this
Tom have
is-
one of these?
this is a tea cozy that I own, because I was writing this at the time where I thought this was a feasible thing that I could go out and make. So I was using...
Tom looked up and
sort
looked
of like
around the room
things
as he
that I
was
could
writing
use.
this and saw the tea cozy.
Elliot's eyes are light on the saddle in the corner.
So yeah, Elliot agrees to come as a hippo, and then they hang up, and Ben and Simon hang up and burst out laughing. Ben asks if Elliot has always been that gullible, and Simon says, pretty much, yeah. Ben says, tonight is going to be the best night of our lives. Simon, so far. The end credits roll with a short next time trailer, and that is the end of the first episode.
Honestly, after the conversation with fucking Drake and Dave, every time that they call somebody or it's mentioned to another person, I'm fully expecting someone to have died or something.
Yeah.
terrible to have happened.
I honestly thought when Amy came back, she was just going to find her mum dead in the bath for reasons unknown, and
It just felt like that. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I fucking love it.
This is that horrific scene at the I would say at the end of Doki Doki, but
I don't think any of us will get that.
Doki Doki Literature Club.
oh right, yeah.
Yeah, John knows.
So, thoughts? Favorite-
Sayori, you doing okay?
Honestly,
I don't know how to take this.
yeah.
Because some characters are actual people, others are robots trying to be people and failing horribly. Oh look, a gun!
I wonder if it's loaded.
The only character I feel okay for is the shut-in.
Yeah.
And that's just
yeah.
headcanon.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, when he said they were walking towards each other on the street, it gave me like bloody Dio flashbacks to
I was
Corby.
thinking of the JoJo memes.
Oh, you're approaching me?
Oh, honestly, like there's stuff there, and like I could see like there's so many improvements to be made. I love the idea that you've got like this hometown story and then weirdly like an Italian mafioso drug story rammed in sideways.
Yeah, but
I
Matt,
was
we've
in
all...
Ireland, but I'm back now,
I'm new in town.
and I'm hot.
Also, what dick move from Ben? Like he's been back a day and he's playing pranks on Elliot.
Apparently, he didn't contact him on Facebook, did he?
No, he did contact Elliot on Facebook. It was Simon who he didn't.
Oh,
Because Simon's the dead one!
right. So Simon could
That's
live
why
with
he's
him.
not on Facebook.
There has been no proof that Simon is alive during this whole segment, basically.
Well, as we established, Kelpies aren't allowed on Facebook, and because Simon is dead in a pool, he is presumably a Kelpie.
What you didn't see is when
On Facebook.
what you didn't see was when Elliot threw his bag at Ivy. It actually passed through Simon because he's not ill.
If, that's not... I'm going to say, when did you stop writing this? How many episodes did you do?
I think I got up to 20 episodes.
Jesus.
Oh!
Of a,
If Simon is not a ghost at the end of this, I'm gonna be.
I want to know how many of the main cast are going to be dead by the end of episode 20.
20 full scripts I think I have, and I have like the plan for the final few episodes.
Jesus.
Because I think I was going for 22 for a full season.
To be fair, like
that's fiction for the next half a year.
Yeah.
Oh Christ.
So what do you think's going to happen next?
Drugs will be sold at a party. Somebody will shoot the gun. Many people will perish. The gerbil economy will crash.
The German economy has crashed. 15 for one hamster? Jeez.
I was gonna say the one that's gonna be shot is Simon, but it's fine because he's already dead.
Yeah, it's just gonna go through him as he's walking towards David. He's just pulling the trigger desperately. This is the gun. Bang, bang, bang. Why aren't you
He's
dead?
just doing the
Like,
Dio
oh,
walk
hell.
towards him. Well, I don't know where I'm gonna splice this clip in, but after Tom's interesting segment where we made up our own headcanon about 90% of the cast. Which I'm not gonna lie.
Than the actual canon.
I was gonna say, which I'm not gonna lie, I've already listened to back in post and it made me laugh again, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, that is good.
Bags.
My segment for this is going to be infinitely shorter, by which I do mean that it exists. And it's not very bare bones because I tried making notes and none of them are eligible.
I mean, that's big for you, so that's great.
Is that just showing off that you can't write?
No, it's the fact that I'm terrible at making notes that are actually effective.
So it wasn't a case that you couldn't read them, it was a case that it made no sense.
I tried typing them. It's not like I couldn't read them. I didn't type them in Windings.
But what if you
I
did?
forgot that was a thing.
Oh, I really hope there's someone out there who knows how to speak Wingdings.
What, you mean, like,
How would you speak that?
It's essentially the hieroglyphics of Word.
Do you guys
That is
remember
true.
that 9/11 conspiracy that had to do with Windings?
No.
It
No.
was like it ended up with like if you typed something into Windings, you'd get images of two towers and an airplane. It was hot nonsense, like most 9/11
I was gonna say.
theories are.
I thought you were going to say you get an image of George Bush and just heat it underneath.
Anyway,
But yeah,
when I brought up the idea of the podcast to these people, I didn't realize that I only had one thing to bring to the table: my extensive knowledge of Japanese manga and anime.
whoa!
That's not how you pronounce it. John sighs, and yet he's probably the second deepest compared to me.
Yeah, but the thing is, you play wide, I play tall, so I'm very specialised in my weeb.
You're damn
You're
That
big
is how you
into
stack the books.
yeah. John's into
for?
shonen and nothing else.
Yes.
Help, I don't know what that means.
So
Matt. Yowie, Matt.
Oh no.
no, that's me, not him.
Yeah, I know. We all
As I say, I play wide.
He loves
But
big
today-
white boy.
As he said,
But-
as
It means
quote
something
from
to wrap
earlier,
his thick
sometimes
thighs
I like
around.
to pretend to be a woman.
Oh, yeah.
That was a genuine quote he said.
I make a fine trap, I'll have you
He
know.
probably would.
At least I know I've got the backing from my
I'm
friends.
sure we've made a joke about like
He's
just
got the
one
right
day you'll
bone
turn
structure.
up and you'll be dressed like as
Look,
a trap, and it's like, oh. Okay.
In the highly unlikely event that we ever do a live show, I will wear a dress to that live show.
Oh God.
And that's in the episode now. You can't take it out.
He doesn't. He's not
If
specifying.
you try to
Like,
edit it out, we'll
I'm
just
not a
keep
pope.
Covering
it.
The-
just like holes.
I don't know if the
everywhere.
weird thing. I'm gonna say, I think the weird thing is, like, I say that, and my brain was like, you should be opposed to that.
It's
Dresses are comfy and easy to wear. They don't restrict my leg movements.
Yeah.
easier to wrap around people with them.
To be fair, you can
Exactly.
do a bit of high kicking one. Anyway, let's go.
Just giving a fuck. No clothes have gender.
Away from
Anyway,
away from movement restrictions on dresses.
possibly. So, as I said, I decided to basically talk about a series of manga and or anime that I like.
What a
Each
stellar
week?
review.
You can.
The basic concept I went into this because, like, some of the anime I'm going to talk about I really enjoy, and some of them I think the plot is so fucking stupid that it just deserves talking about to you
yeah.
three. because that's going to be like the next time I do an anime segment, which, oh boy, I hope you're ready for that one.
That's not flesh mascots, is it?
No, Glyphnir won't have ended by then, so...
Yeah, Tom, just like, what the fuck?
Although I do want to talk about Glyphnir once the arc has ended. The 12 episodes are out there, just so the people can... Anyway, I, today, have decided to start fairly tame in the context of anime. And I want to talk about a show that was surprisingly popular back in, I want to say it was last year, it was 2019. Winter of 2019.
Last year.
Yeah, look, when anime comes out, like, in 4 chunks each year, you get confused as to what airs when. Anyway, today I wish to talk to you all about Kaguya-Sama, Love is War.
I've heard of that.
Ah,
I know what that is.
I feel like that's a close play on the words "all's fair in love and war."
So just to start this segment off, I would like to read to you the first 2 pages of the manga.
Got it.
Because they open the first episode of the anime with this, read by a narrator. Hold on to your butts. That's not in the thing. This is me.
What a tight grip you've got.
What? You're meant to hold your own butt, not someone else's. Also, we're social distancing right now, man.
Instructions unclear. Quarantine boundaries broken.
Anyway, so this is verbatim from the manga.
I thought you said verboten, like forbidden in German. Das ist verboten.
No, this is verbatim.
All right.
Everyone believes that falling for someone, confessing your love, and becoming a couple is the most wonderful thing in the world. But they're wrong! In every couple, there is an imbalance of power. The exploiter and the exploited. The giver and the taker. The winner and the loser. If you want to maintain your dominance, you must not become the loser. Love is war, and the one who confesses their love first loses.
This feels like my love life. It's a competition. I'm going to win.
Strong feelings from the narrator
what
here.
popped into my head is that meme of all like the different types of couples marrying, and you've got like the smart woman and the dumb guy, and it's just like power imbalance kind of thing. God, that is a hell of an opening.
So this manga, from the first season of the anime, I would say there's 4 main characters of it. This is set in a Japanese high school,
I would never have guessed.
Look, some of them aren't, okay?
Like 10% of them.
So these characters...
Jojo is not based in a high school whatsoever in the first 3 parts.
Jotaro is just a high schooler.
I see.
He is, but he's never at home.
Anyway, this manga follows 4 students. There's... oh god, I'm going to butcher all of these, and everyone is going to yell at me in the comments.
Oh, it's not like we'll have Japanese listeners.
That's also true. Okay, so...
John takes off a face mask.
Nani the fuck?
The Japanese listener all the time. It was me.
Dio!
Nani?
Anyway, yeah. So there are 4 main characters in this. There is Kaguya Shinomiya. She is she is the main girl in this. She is the vice president of the student council, and the main few factors that you need to know about her is she's the sole daughter of a wealthy Japanese conglomerate. They specify
a business, not a person. She's the daughter.
Pretty much, like the way they describe her father, he's not human. And the family morals that she's raised on, they're written somewhere. It's like, don't use emotions. People are there to be used, and that's the way she was raised.
Oh my god!
So it's very strict
that's
parenting. Yeah, and so the only thing you need to know, she was a child prodigy. She was born into all this, and she has, quote, a total asset of 200 trillion yen.
So
that's
about
at least
I don't know what the conversion rate is.
That's at least a couple of billion. That's at least a couple of billion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From
The
way you
school
said
they
it, I
go
would
to
guess
is
it
where like the elites go, pretty much.
Anybody else
And she
getting
is the vice president.
Do you see what anyone else getting what vibes?
bitch vibes?
I mean, yeah. It's Billy and Mandy vibes. Is what I'm getting. I'm getting Mandy vibes.
Yeah, except like the other one is not dumb because the main boy that is also in this Miyuki Shirogane. Shirogane is actually an easy one, and that's what I will refer to him from. He actually is the president of the student council. He is arguably the opposite in that he was born with nothing, and he has worked his way from nothing, and he constantly places top of every test that takes place at the school. And this is a Japanese school, so like tests are serious business.
Stereotyping, and then there's meeting stereotypes.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
he's worked up from.
clawing tooth and nail up his fucking nothing's gonna stop him kind of thing.
And now
Yeah.
he's president of the school council.
Yeah,
No, I generally thought he was just say he is president.
of the school council.
Stop.
Of the world.
And there is two other characters who are somewhat important. The first is the student council secretary, who I do know her surname. It's Fujiwara, but first name is Chika. The only thing you need to know about Chika is that she's a walking meme.
Okay, good. I think she's
And
my
I mean
favorite.
that seriously. If you go to r/animemes, you will find at least one Chika meme per day. John is going to confirm or deny this. You will also see many hey hey memes from Hayasaka, but she's a side character in my eyes, even if she's best girl.
Oh, her. Yeah, no, I've seen so many bloody memes of her. Yeah.
And the final one is the treasurer of the student council, Yu Ishigami, who is, despite what I said about everyone else, he is my favorite member of this student council, if only because most of the scenes he's in, he ends with the phrase, "President, I want to die, so I'm going home."
Do you feel he embodies you
Oh yeah,
with that
Yeah.
statement?
Well,
that is a move.
the first scene that Ishigami is in, he's like, "I want to leave the council" to to Shirogane, who's the president, and he's like, "Why?" He's like, "I feel like Kaguya wants to kill me." He's like, "Okay, why?" He's like, "She's always just got this look in her eyes, like she looks down on everyone," and then is like, because I'll get to that in a minute because there's a whole battle going on, which is the whole love is war concept of the manga. So, the president and the vice president, they love each other? Question marks?
There's a heavy question mark over that.
I feel like
Because
that's like, your classic American high school man is like the head jock is dating the head cheerleader. Not because they love each other or are romantically interested, but because that's what they're supposed to do with those positions.
Well, it's like there's the opening scene after the whole intro thing is like there's the two of them, the vice president and the president, walking through the hallway, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's those two! Do you think they're dating yet?" Because that's what high schoolers do.
They
They just
certainly
like
are
ship.
standing next
They
to each
ship
other.
everyone.
High schoolers are
That's
assholes,
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
That's
that
happened to me before. Yeah, it's not. It's weird.
Yeah, and then they like get to the student council room or whatever, and they're just like, "These people think we're dating. What a ridiculous concept." And he's like, "Yeah, I wouldn't put any thought in it." And then in both of their minds, there's literally a scene that's like, "Well, if the other asked me out, I wouldn't be opposed to that idea." Because there's literally like a scene where it's like, because this is literally like almost verbatim what they say. It's like, she says, like, if Shirogane got down on his knees and offered me up his whole family wealth, I would consider dating him. That is Kaguya that says that.
The wealthy side of things, not his love,
Yeah.
his wealth.
No,
No,
that's
it's-
her.
Love
That's
is
her, not
in
him.
the
Oh,
yen.
that's her. Sorry.
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Because, like, she's obviously been raised with, like, all these people are below me, I am, like, the superior one, and, like, the wealth of people is all that matters.
Yeah.
And then there's the Shirogane, who's basically the same. It's just like, well, if she got down on her knees and begged me to date her, I wouldn't say no. And they like...
It'd just be
they-
impolite.
So fucking toxic.
It's because, like, he's gotten this... Because I said, like, he's worked from nothing to get to where he is, which is basically the top of the top. And that's given him this massive ego of, like, he is the best. because he's worked his way up, whereas Shinomiya is the opposite, where she's like, she was born into greatness. And
Plus,
it just feels like...
how you get a lot of people who like come up from nothing and do just turn into egotistical assholes.
Well, it's because they can't. You have to have that competitive edge to get up there in the first place, and then you can't lose it because otherwise you'll go back down. You don't want to go back down, do you? No, it's that
I mean,
kind of thing,
down's all right. Have you ever been down, John?
Yeah.
I've been down.
I've been on a roller coaster, and I can confirm down is usually the best parts.
Mainly because it gets rid of the build-up of going up, which is just like sheer terror as you're aware that, oh my god, there's only a piece of metal between me and death.
Do you guys
Goddamn
like roller
vertigo.
coasters?
Come to Alton Towers today.
Roller coasters.
I like roller coasters.
I have vertigo, so...
Oh.
So I just want to run you through, like, the first
Could have brushed that aside.
scene after, like, because so basically the idea you need to go into these is they are basically doing, like, mind battles with each other is, like, can I make this sound like you're confessing your love to me? And if you do, you are the loser in this whole relationship thing.
This is not a healthy relationship.
It really isn't, but it's hilarious to watch unfold because of everyone else's input.
What happens if they have a kid with each other? It's just like the amount, like, them trying to...
They're
get
in
the
high
same-
school.
Yeah, I know, but eventually, this far down the line. And they just try and get... What will be his first word? It's gonna be dad. It's gonna be mum. And just like, that horrible fucking...
Just leaning down in front of a kid. Just so you know, kid, the first parent you say you love them to, that's gonna be your worst parent.
The kid flexes and says his own name.
In just like deepest voice possible. Just young John.
So, as I said, I want to run you through like the events of the first sketch scene that goes on here.
Go for it.
So there's three of them: the Shinomiya, Shirogane, which I've realised that having them both start with S is probably not wise, so I should probably just call her
Dave and Drake all over again.
David, please.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So
Well, yeah, I've got to remember the vid.
we've got Kaguya, we've got Kaguya, we've got Shirogane, and we've got Chika, who I said was the walking meme.
Oh,
They're in like the student council room doing student council stuff. It's just like like them filling out paperwork, and Chika basically brings up the point to the other two. It's like, I won 2 movie tickets in a contest recently, but they're for this weekend, but I don't have a free weekend. Do you two want them? And Shirogane looks at his diary and is like, you know what? For once, I have a free weekend, so you know what? I will take those. Do you want to go with me? And as the moment he's about to ask Kaguya if she wants to go with him, Chika raises this point. It's like, oh, by the way, I've heard a rumor about this film. Apparently, if a boy and a girl go and see it, they become a couple. So he like stops himself and being like, wait a minute, this could be construed as me asking her out on a date, and I can't be seen doing that. And he runs through this head of like Shinomiya looking down, because there's a running gag in this scene where it's like Shinomiya looking down at him being like, oh, how cute. And that's just like his ultimate like, I have failed. If she looks at me and thinks I am cute, I have failed. So it's like, and then she just turns to him because this is like a mind games thing. She's like, oh, it sounds like you were about to ask me to go and see this film with you, President. Does that mean you want to ask me out on a date? And he's like, well, shit, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Play coy. Yeah, I was going to ask you out on a date. I don't believe in shit like that, but if you want to believe in shit like that, you can do. And she's just like... And then she goes through this like, I see what he's trying to do because I have thought this far ahead.
It sounds like
and when I say by this part, when I say I have seen this far ahead, what she means is she faked that contest to give Chika the tickets, consulted his diary for a weekend to see when he was free, just so she could set up this whole thing.
The word sad sprung to mind.
There is a lot of effort to go to. Does she not have homework?
No, she's already done it probably because like she's like an exemplary thing.
She looks like it just gets done.
Yeah.
Oh god.
So instead of like arguing his point, she's she does what she calls like the play innocent card, where it's like she's does like this whole like cutesy routine where she's like, I just can't help but believe in those kinds of things, President. And he's just like, oh my god, why is she so fucking cute? He's like, but no, don't lose faith in yourself. Have commitment, man.
Have commitment to yourself.
Yeah, and so like this whole thing goes back and forth where they're arguing, and then she's like, I've got him. There's no way he can worm his way out of this one. I've made it basically sound like he's asking me on a date, and then at the end of the scene, Chica's like, if you two don't want to go see that film, I've got like tickets to a different film if you'd rather go see that one. And she's like, oh, for fuck's sake! And there's this whole bit where like the narrator of the show is like, this Chica is the embodiment of chaos theory.
I feel like
there are some things you can't plan for, and Chica is one of them.
I feel like because like it is in a sense overblown, but at the same time, that must have happened somewhere at some point.
It will do. It's
These are very teenage problem stakes.
Except that does feel like there's more on the line, because I feel like she could stab him at any given moment.
Yeah, like the methodological. That's not
methodological.
A word. Methodological.
Yeah.
Process that she's going through is very particular.
Sociopath.
She could apply that methodology to planning a murder.
Easily.
I think Tom Cruise is like, it's such a Holmes Moriarty vibe from the films, you know, where they do the whole like he plans out in his mind what he's going to do, and then in the end of Game of Shadows you have Moriarty countering him. Like, it's totally that kind of vibe.
I forgot because I was just flicking through the first volume of the manga, which basically covers like an episode and a half. Of course I have the manga. I ordered like 4 of them the other day.
That's what turned up in that package.
Yeah,
that's what turned up while we were ordering the other one. More Kaguya-Sama, because I have an addiction. I just want to run you through like one other sketch, because when I say like Kaguya can be mildly psychopathic, I just want to prove a point at this point.
I mean, mildly is... I wouldn't have said mildly, I would have got very.
Yeah.
So there's this whole scene where the two of them are just like walking through the courtyard, and they see another couple exchanging lunches, because in Japan they have, like, pretty much everyone has a packed lunch from what I established. They have like bentos.
Yeah,
which is like home... Yeah, bento boxes, which are basically like better packed lunches from what I've seen.
Oh, they look good.
They really do.
Yeah, I've seen a YouTube video comparing one of those to like an American or an English packed lunch. And
bentos look sweet.
A lot better.
What's in bentos then? That's the first I've heard of it.
They're mostly like cold rice dishes and stuff.
So kind of a bit like sushi and that kind of.
Yeah. So there's a whole scene where they're walking through like the courtyard to the school, and they see like this other couple like sharing.
Oh wow, that does look. Holy shit, that looks amazing.
That's just some examples of stuff.
Oh, I want it.
Yeah.
In me.
Yeah, bentos are great.
The lunch or the box?
Both. Unhinges jaw, inhales.
Someone's finally made an unhinged jaw like a snake reference, and it's not about me. Yeah. You've done me like 5 years of my life.
Snake Eater plays in the background.
So yeah, they see this couple like sharing their lunch or what their lunches with each other, and like Kaguya is like, how dare they do that at school? That's real fucking vulgar or whatever. And Shirigane's just like, yeah, I guess. And so they just wander up to the council room, and then he's like, gets his own like packed lunch out, and he's done that thing. He's done specifically the thing she notices. He's done the thing where they cut like hot dog sausages into small octopuses.
What?
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can
we just talk about Japanese food?
We can talk about Japanese culture at some point in time, but
you can do that. You can do that on a fact thing if we swap up.
Do they make calamari out of sausage? Sorry, my mind's going places.
Delicious.
Away.
Wrong places.
So yeah, like the Shirigane gets his lunch out and he opens it, and Kaguya is like, that looks actually amazing because she's just usually gets whatever her chef has prepared her because, you know, rich girl.
Yep.
And he's like, my family from the country just sent over like a shit ton of like vegetables and stuff that they've homegrown, so I've just put them into a bento. I made one for me and one for my sister. And then as they're discussing this, like, Chica comes in and is just like, President, I see you've got them like mini hot dog things. Do you want to swap with like whatever I've got in my bento? And the president's like, yeah, sure. Why the hell not? But this is a thing that Japanese kids do for some reason.
Yeah.
If they have like, because
yeah.
the bento is like segmented, so I guess you could like trade bits that you
it's
don't
kind
want.
of like if it's I've got this chocolate bar, you got Jack chocolate bar. Oh, do you want like mine for yours kind of thing? I think it's a thing kids do.
Yeah.
So
I think I remember like swapping Muller corners in primary school.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, like, she asks this with the president, and Shirogane is like, sure. And then in the background, Kaguya is looking at Chika as like, you've betrayed me. How dare you do this? How dare you swap foods with the man that I like? I wanted to ask for that meat, and you've taken it. How dare you, Chika? And there's literally, like, a line where it's like, I thought we were friends, Chika, but not anymore.
God.
Like,
oh my God, Tom, are you getting Azula vibes from this?
Oh yeah.
And then there's also
that's Chica. So both you'll probably recognise her from the memes.
Yes, I have seen memes with her.
Yeah, that's Chica. She's the walking meme incarnate.
I feel like that is such a like. But Chica has accidentally been the instigator in these two things.
Oh, the other thing, that's the two things they say about Chica. I say she's a walking meme. Everyone else, like, the main thing they say about Chica is she can't read the room.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
There's even, like, a point where they were talking about something and she's like, my one weakness is that my friends tell me I can't read the room, and it really sucks when they want to talk about boys and stuff. Because they never include me.
Now it's making me feel more sad for her.
Yeah.
Stop giving me emotions, Tom.
So, as I say, there's this moment where Kaguya is looking down at those two, being like, Chika, you've betrayed me. I can't believe you've done this. And then Shirogane looks at her, and he's like, why does she look like she's looking at me with disdain? And she's looking at Chika, but he thinks she's looking at him. And he's like, oh God, she thinks my lunch is for peasants, doesn't she?
Sitting here like a fool with my peasant lunch.
My sausage octopus.
That sounds like I'm sorry, but that sounds like a sex thing, or like a nickname for a piece of genitalia.
Do you want to use the sausage octopus tonight? I'll give you a pork knuckle.
Oh God, the wire in my headphones has come out. I can't hear shit. One moment.
Oh my God.
What was the title of this thing again?
I've actually gone lightheaded. Jesus Christ.
I think it was pork knuckle. But it might have to be sausage octopus now.
It was the other one, wasn't it? The bloody
Kelpies don't use Facebook or something.
Yeah, that was it. Kelpies can't use Facebook.
Yeah, so like he looks at this and he looks at her and she's like, he thinks he's looking at his lunch with disgust, so he's like, okay, I'll show you something that's impressive, and he brings out like a thermos flask of miso soup, which he then uses to warm his rice.
Oh, okay, that sounds good.
Yeah. And then, like, Chika's like, that is amazing. Can I try some of that as well? And he's like, yeah, sure. Because he doesn't know that feeding Chika is what's causing the disdain.
Feed her more, and just like get some fun out.
And then, like, she continues to look at them with disdain. And then the line I wanted to read verbatim as well, which was like, Chika, I thought you were friends and all, but if you were on the verge of death tomorrow, I wouldn't save you.
Oh.
I do like how those two are like classic psychopaths, where they have absolute inability to show any vulnerability whatsoever. They can't.
Oh, they show vulnerability to everyone else. It's just they can't show it in front of each other.
Oh, all right.
Because there are scenes where they're talking to other people, and it's like, hypothetically, I have this friend. Okay, this is about Kaguya. Okay, go on. And as I said, there's a scene where the president's talking with the treasurer, and he's like, say I have this friend. Okay, I'm going to stop you there, president, because it sounds like that's so cliche for someone that wants to talk about themselves but doesn't want to. but I know you're not that kind of guy, so I'll just let it slide. He's like, yeah, sure.
You've seen from my ruse, but you rused yourself. Okay, let's continue.
You ruse your ruse.
You've seen through my ruse, then seen too far into another ruse.
So yeah, basically like this like whole thing goes on, and there's just like the whole thing of, in the end, he's like, I can't deal with this. The pressure is like too much from being like looked down upon, because I don't know, being looked down upon by the girl that you want to date is kind of a pain.
Yeah.
And so he's just like, he just like stands up. He's like, I have student council meetings to attend. I need to be somewhere else. And so he just like eats all of his food incredibly quickly and leaves. And she's like, but I wanted that food. And then at the end, like, she's just like hunched over or whatever, like just all like depressed. And then at the end, Chica's like, I've got one of these hot dog sausage things left. Do you want it? And then there's the whole like, Chica, I'm sorry I misjudged you. She actually says that. Yeah, she actually like she like gives her a hug and like says that to her, and she's like, I don't know what the fuck you're on about, Kaguya.
At the risk of like insulting someone, it sounds like there may be some. That's gotta be like. That is some emotional flipping right there.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, that's.
Jesus
as I
Christ.
say, just from like giving brief synopsis of some of my favorite ones, there are also some surprisingly touching ones. But I also should point out, every like sketch, the narrator like talks over, and at the end they have a winner and a loser.
Oh, that episode.
Yeah, no, like of each like sketch in the episode. So it's like after like Shirogane ups and runs off, and she's like hunched over, and then Chica is like feeding her. It's like, today's result: Kaguya wins.
How?
and Shirogane loses because she got to eat the president's food.
Yeah.
Oh, because she got to eat it. I thought.
Yeah.
Proxy, she won.
Yeah.
Yeah. By default, the best way to win.
And I was saying about the first one where it was like they were trying to get with the theatre tickets, and then Chica just gives them tickets to a different film if they're so concerned about it. And then it's like, today's winner, they both lose.
Just like there's someone on the tannoy who's just watching this through the cameras, and like after the
narrator makes some of the scenes the way he describes it. I tried to look up who the voice actor for the narrator is, because sadly this is not dubbed. So for all of you people that watch dubbed anime, you're going to be waiting a while. For those of you that want to watch it, season 1 is on Crunchyroll. Season
Not
1
sponsored.
and
not sponsored.
yeah, season 1 and 2 are on Funimation, but I wouldn't recommend that
want
one.
to give us money.
I mean, I
Won't
wouldn't be
stop.
absurd. So, Corby,
Matt,
how
yes?
many sausage octopuses out of 10 would you give it?
oh, like definitely at least 9.
9 sausage
Ah,
octopuses.
that's
out of
not
10.
not bad.
That's
That's
a
a
pretty
good
high
rating.
rating anime.
Is this what we're gonna rate? Is this what we're gonna rate the manga and anime off of?
How many
Sausage octopi.
octopuses
Yeah.
would you give it?
It'll be phallic imagery of the day per anime, probably.
Oh, you just wait until the next can I just read you the title of the next one that I want to bring, despite the fact that I think it will ruin the concept? So
Sure.
I made I got like a list of like
Look
10.
how bright that screen is on its
Yeah,
face.
that's because I put Word open. Let me minimize that so I'm not.
Oh, God!
Okay, so I wanted to open with Kaguya-Sama because it's like one of my favorites, and it got good enough to be a season 2. Also, like this got published in, I want to say it's not Shonen Jump, it's Shinen Jump Weekly.
Sheen Jump.
No, not Shinen. Is it Seinen?
Oh,
you're
Sign
asking
Jump. I've
the
heard that
wrong-
one.
Seinen Jump.
I've heard
Yeah,
that
it got published in like Seinen Teen Jump. So like this is like a fairly well-known thing.
Yeah.
Shonen Jump published. Oh god, they published.
Naruto and everything.
Yeah, they published Naruto. They published Dragon Ball.
One
They
Piece.
published JoJo. They
Shoujo.
published Death Note.
So all the
They-
A lot of the classic, well-known
Yeah,
anime.
like but they're like the shonen ones, which like shonen is basically like the manga and stuff for boys, and seinen is more like here's like the more rom-com-y stuff, which they say is for girls. And yeah, I'm pretty sure like this mostly has a boy following anyway. But you know.
Yeah, that's Japan.
Also, I looked up I was on like just a rabbit hole. And a volume of Seinen Jump Young or whatever it's called is 240 yen, last it was priced at,
is
which is
equivalent to-
£1.80.
That is a
good.
horrible exchange rate. You think gerbils and hamsters were bad?
It's like pounds to yen, gerbils to hamsters.
Oh, don't get me
But yeah,
started on gerbils.
£1.80, and you get, it says like £1.80, and each one it's like as I said, like there are chapters in a manga, and you get like 5 to 10 in each manga. You get like a chapter per week, and there's, I want to say, about 12 series running in each shonen.
Yeah.
That's pretty worth it then.
I know, because a recommendation that you gave me, John, Golden Kamuy, that ran in the same thing as Kaguya-Sama. They put it in like the one-off one, and it got too popular, so they had to put it in the weekly one.
It's a good.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yes, I said the next anime I wanted to just tease the people with is Shinonetta. Shimonetta. Are you ready for this mouthful of a subtitle?
Why do I know that?
To you.
Shinometta, a boring world where the concept of dirty jokes don't exist.
I don't know that. No.
Huh.
And I'm gonna leave
Is-
that there.
actually-
That is the next anime that I want to talk about.
But how do you? What? No.
I feel like that's going to be some sort of Ricky Gervais invention of lying style scenario where someone makes the first dirty joke and is able to control the world through it.
Well, side tangent, but you know about Japanese censorship, don't you?
Yes.
It's like a lot of Japanese is like it's hardcore censored.
It's like, is it more?
Yes.
It's like culturally speaking, it's improper to.
Yeah,
So-
basically, like, this takes that to the extreme where, like, censorship is run rampant and, like, even, like, thinking about making a dirty joke or, like, telling a dirty joke is considered illegal.
Oh god, it's like Minority Report, but you can't do double entendres.
But as I said, I don't want to get too deep into that because that's the one I want to do next week.
Cool.
Oh,
You're
okay, that
guilty
sounds
of a
fun.
fourth-class euphemism.
You joke, but
Yeah, no,
Well,
I need to rewatch that series just so I have a guideline as to what goes on.
yeah, I've not.
seems like an
Yes.
ideal place to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this week's Fact vs Fiction.
There wasn't much fact.
No, there was a lot of
There
fiction.
was a whole lot of fiction.
So
I've
We've
the
established
problem.
that fiction runs longer, but it's probably less insightful.
maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, as ever, John, do you want to close us out with a proverb that's going to make me want to put my eyes in my ears?
Sure. Never look a gift horse in the mouth, for it has teeth like a man.
No.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.